But you don't just have to have one number just for a country. I mentioned that there's different versions of unemployment. But we talked about the US. Right? What about states? States can have their own unemployment rate. And actually, Illinois is kind of known for having, I believe, the second highest unemployment rate in the country. But Illinois is higher than some other states. Other states that are known for high unemployment are the state of Michigan, with its auto industry. If you can think about the fact that people aren't buying cars as much, auto workers have been losing their jobs. And then, until recently, Nevada has been known for high unemployment. Nevada is kind of known either for, well, nowadays it's just known for casinos and tourism. If people around the country don't have money to spend, they're not going to go frequent hotels, bars, restaurants, and other attractions in the state of Nevada. So Nevada had very high unemployment rates. Right, so these are three states that have higher unemployment rates than some other states in the United States. Some of the ones that are lower are ones, I'll give two examples. These are ones that are a little bit more Midwestern. They're in the middle of the country, North Dakota and Montana. And actually, those are both known for resources in mining. There's been discovery of different types of energy in these states. They've been able to attract workers. So these, while this might be closer to 7, 8, 9, 10%, these states might have unemployment rates closer to 4%. So a lot of times, this is where people who are looking for jobs might move to, because there's more jobs in this energy sector. Now, as a quick sort of way to tie it into inflation, what's actually happening in these states is that as people move to North Dakota and Montana, they're not very big cities, there's not a lot of places to live. All these people move in and find there's not a lot of apartments, not a lot of places to live. And as they compete for rents, it pushes rents up. And so if you know about the law of demand, prices will go up in these states. These states get a little bit of inflation because unemployment is so low. But you can look at different states. Politicians talk about Illinois having too high of unemployment. The governor of Texas actually came to Illinois and said, we'd like your businesses. Texas is doing better. So states sometimes compete against each other. But these have to do with the industries that are in each state. If the auto industry or the tourism industry are not doing well, unemployment will be high. Right? Finally, we'll talk about other countries. What other countries have low unemployment rates? The U.S. is pretty low compared to some others, simply because of the fact that we've been doing more to fix our economy. But what about some countries that have higher unemployment rates? One example people talk about is Spain. Right? During this recession, Spain has been one of the hardest hit countries in the world. The economy has undergone a massive drop in GDP, massive rise in unemployment. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people thought Spain might not be even able to stay in the euro, the common European currency. So Spain has, in 2013, 26% unemployment. Because so many people, primarily young people, college graduates without a lot of job experience, lost their jobs. So that's extremely high. If we're worried about 8%, Spain is worried about 26%. All right? And then in some countries that are outside of the Western world, I'll give South Africa as an example. Their labor markets don't do very well. All right? So they have a lot of youth unemployment, a lot of people out of jobs. But in a lot of countries that are outside the West, people wind up working unofficially. All right? So you could say that these countries might have hidden workers, that unemployment might be too high, because you might be officially unemployed, but you are not unemployed for yourself. You might be working under the table or working outside of the formal market. But if these countries outside of Europe and the United States a lot of times have really high unemployment rates simply because labor markets don't do as well, and it's very hard to find a job in those countries. And so you wind up seeing much more in the sense of these informal markets. So you could criticize their unemployment rate for being too low rather than too high. So But for the most part, in a principles of macroeconomics class, we usually focus on the U.S. Things the U.S. can do to fix the U.S. unemployment rate. And so we focus on where our country's rate is, where it should be. But when you start looking at different parts of the country, you'll see that different states, different cities, different groups of people all have different unemployment rates. And then what you can do when you look at the international economy is compare the U.S. versus other countries. You can see that different countries have different sets of problems. And their normal unemployment rate is much higher because they each have their own